Alaska's error rate has exploded to 24.66%, nearly quadruple the federal threshold. And that single number could decide whether thousands of families lose their food assistance. States like Georgia and Florida aren't far behind, with rates well into the danger zone. But this crisis isn't about fraud, laziness, or work requirements. It's about clerical errors, outdated household data, and missed updates. Mistakes that are now triggering a nationwide push to slash benefits before the official deadline even hits. As 46 states scramble to correct their numbers, families caught in the crossfire could be forced to repay benefits they never knew were miscalculated, or see their aid vanish entirely. This wave of cuts is being driven by new federal enforcement rules targeting administrative accuracy, not fraud. With a 6% error rate cap kicking in by 2028, states are under pressure to audit cases, revise eligibility standards, and recover any overpayments. The Congressional Budget Office warns that around 300,000 people could lose benefits, and nearly 100,000 children may face reductions in nutrition support. For low-income families already living on the edge, the fallout from these administrative crackdowns could mean unexpected repayment demands, reduced benefits, or full removal from SNAP rolls, all because of behind-the-scenes bureaucratic decisions. 46 states across America are about to pull the rug out from under millions of families. And no, this isn't because of fraud, laziness, or work requirements. This is about paperwork. This is about state governments scrambling to avoid losing federal money because they haven't been doing their jobs correctly. The clock is ticking, and unless you live in one of the 8 states that are in the clear, your food assistance might be on the chopping block. Here's the reality. The federal government is cracking down on error rates in SNAP, what most people know as food stamps. These error rates aren't just about fraud. They measure how often states either give too much or too little in benefits. But let's be honest, the overwhelming majority of those errors are overpayments. That means the state is giving people more than they're technically eligible for. Not because someone lied, but because the system failed. Administrative mistakes, outdated income data, mismanaged cases. So now, the USDA is stepping in with a hard line. If your state's error rate is above 6%, starting in fiscal year 2028, October 1, 2027, you could lose a portion of your federal SNAP funding. That means states are scrambling now to bring their error rates down before the deadline. And that scramble, it's already hitting people in the most direct, painful way possible. Benefit cuts, eligibility reviews, more audits, and a growing number of families at risk of being kicked off assistance altogether. This isn't hypothetical. It's not in the distant future. We're talking about potential SNAP cuts starting as early as 2025 or 2026. Some states are already moving to clean house, auditing cases, updating eligibility data, double-checking household records. And when they find an error, whether it was intentional or not, they can reduce your benefit, demand repayment, or shut you off entirely.
Backhand index pointing right. If this information helped you, don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always one step ahead. We break down important updates like this clearly so you're never caught off guard. Join our community, stay informed, and take control of your financial future, starting today. Flexed Biceps Calendar.
According to the Congressional Budget Office, around 300,000 people could lose their SNAP benefits altogether. Another 96,000 children could see their nutrition assistance reduced. That's nearly 500,000 Americans, low-income households, seniors, kids, who could be pushed closer to food insecurity, all because states are trying to meet a bureaucratic target. Take Alaska. Their error rate is jaw-dropping, 24.66%. That means nearly a quarter of their SNAP cases are miscalculated. Georgia, 15.65%. Florida, 15.13%. These states, and others like New Mexico, Oregon, New York, are way above the 6% threshold. And if they don't fix their numbers fast, they're in real danger of losing federal funds. That pressure is being passed directly onto families who depend on these benefits to eat. Now let's get something straight. The error rate includes both overpayments and underpayments. But overpayments are far more common. Why? Because state agencies aren't keeping up. Someone might start a new job or get a raise or have a change in their household. But if that data isn't updated quickly or correctly, the state keeps handing out more benefits than they should. And when they realize the mistake, who pays? The recipient. The person just trying to get by. If you've been overpaid, you could be forced to repay the extra amount. That often means the state reduces your future benefits until the debt is repaid. And if it's a large overpayment, you might even be hit with legal action. Not because you committed fraud, but because the state messed up and now wants you to clean up their error. The pressure is real, and it's building fast. States know they need to act early to avoid penalties. That's why we're already seeing more audits, tighter eligibility requirements, and stricter documentation standards. And let's not forget, this entire policy was ramped up during the Trump administration's push to cut waste and abuse across federal programs. That legacy lives on. The current policy enforcements are a direct result of that agenda, one that prioritized cost-cutting over stability and bureaucracy over compassion. Meanwhile, the government is in shutdown chaos. That throws another wrench in the system. SNAP recipients are now navigating a landscape where they might not even be able to reach a caseworker or get updated benefit information on time. Processing delays could mean late benefits. And with these new pressures, a single delay or mistake could mean the difference between putting food on the table and going hungry. Let's talk solutions. If you're receiving SNAP benefits, you need to act now. First, verify your benefit amount. Make sure the information the state has on file, your income, your household size, your employment status, is accurate and up to date. If something has changed, report it immediately. Don't assume the system will catch it. Second, keep records. Every time you interact with your local SNAP office, phone calls, emails, in-person visits, document it. Save notices, letters, and decisions. If there's an error down the line, you'll need that paper trail. Third, prepare. This may mean seeking out alternative resources in your area. Local food banks, WIC, school meal programs, senior nutrition assistance. These programs may help cushion the blow if your benefits are reduced or paused. If you're unsure what's available, contact your local Department of Human Services or equivalent office. And remember, you have rights. If your benefits are cut, or if you're told you owe money because of an overpayment, you have the right to appeal. In most cases, you have 90 days to challenge the decision. But the key is acting fast. Don't wait until the benefit disappears or the debt collector shows up. Be proactive. Let's be clear. This is a structural issue. This isn't about individuals gaming the system. This is about states falling short on administrative responsibilities, and now trying to fix their problems by putting the burden on the people they're supposed to serve. It's not fraud, it's failure. And that failure is about to cost real families real meals. For most people, SNAP isn't some luxury. It's a lifeline. It's the difference between skipping meals and getting through the month. These cuts, these audits, this panic. It's happening because states didn't do their job. And now the most vulnerable are paying the price. It's also worth noting that this isn't an even playing field. Only 8 states have error rates low enough to be in the clear. Idaho, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Vermont. That's it. Everyone else is at risk. The disparity is massive, and it raises serious questions about how some states manage their programs better than others, and why. The policy shift isn't going away. The federal government is committed to this error rate enforcement plan, and states are on notice. October 1, 2027, is the official deadline, but the real action is happening now. States aren't going to wait until the last minute. They're going to start cutting, auditing, and tightening the system years in advance. If you wait, you lose. That's why staying informed is your best defense. Check your mail. Answer calls from your SNAP office. Update your information. Know your appeal rights. And most importantly, spread the word. Tell your neighbors. Share this video. Talk to your family. People need to know that their benefits are at risk. Not because of fraud, but because of paperwork. Because of error rates. Because the state is trying to avoid losing money, even if it means taking food off your table. This is the harsh reality of social policy in America right now. Numbers are driving decisions, not people. Administrative efficiency is becoming more important than human needs. And unless recipients act now, verify their info, prepare alternative plans, and stay alert, more families will be caught in the crossfire. So check your status. Contact your local SNAP office. Date your records. And if you've experienced overpayment, get ahead of it. Ask for a breakdown. Prepare a repayment plan if needed. Don't wait for the system to come knocking, because it will. Stay alert. Stay prepared. Stay informed. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, share it with your community, and hit that subscribe button for updates as the situation develops. Leave a comment below if your state has already started tightening SNAP. Your story could help someone else prepare. Most importantly, don't wait. Reach out to your local Department of Human Services today. Your benefits, your food security, your rights depend on it. And here's what you need to understand. This isn't a drill. It's not theoretical. These cuts are already starting to happen in certain states. Audits are underway. Benefits are being reevaluated. And in many cases, people are getting less. Not because their income changed, not because their situation improved, but because their state is desperate to avoid federal penalties. What we're seeing is a nationwide recalibration of SNAP benefits, triggered by a policy that was supposed to enforce accuracy. But the way it's being implemented, it's disproportionately punishing the very people it claims to serve. It's not solving the problem, it's shifting the blame. It's making low-income families pay for the administrative dysfunction of their state governments. You've got state agencies that have been operating with outdated software, short-staffed offices, overwhelmed caseworkers, and clunky systems for years. And now, they're suddenly expected to be perfect. They're expected to get under a 6% error rate, or else. So instead of investing in better technology, better training, or more staff, what are most states doing? They're tightening eligibility. They're kicking people off. They're reducing benefits across the board. They're cutting first and asking questions later. And let's talk about the numbers again because they matter. Over 300,000 people could lose their benefits altogether. That's not just a number. It's entire households, seniors on fixed incomes, working families trying to get by, parents trying to feed their kids. Then there are the 96,000 children. Kids who depend on nutrition assistance from school meal programs and SNAP. They didn't cause the errors. But they're about to feel the consequences. When the system messes up, the system should be held accountable, not the recipient. But under this new enforcement policy, it's the recipient who's forced to repay, who's forced to deal with reduced benefits, who's forced to prove their own innocence in a system that's already failed them once. And in states with error rates as high as 24%. Think about that for a second. Alaska's error rate is 24.66%. That's 1 in 4 cases. 1 in 4. That's not a marginal issue. That's a sign of a broken system. Yet the response isn't to fix the system. It's to cut the benefits. It's to make the families pay for the government's incompetence. And again, this isn't about fraud. That word gets thrown around a lot to justify cuts. But this time, this isn't fraud. It's not abuse. These are errors. Technical errors, administrative mistakes, cases where the data wasn't updated on time. The government knows this. The agencies know this. But the political messaging still implies that these cuts are somehow part of cleaning up the system. It's a convenient narrative. We're cracking down on waste, they say. But what they don't say is that they're doing it on the backs of people who rely on this help to survive. They're not going after the system that caused the mistakes. They're going after the recipients who were told they qualified and now are being told they didn't. It's cruel. It's unjust. And it's completely avoidable. If you're watching this and you're a SNAP recipient, the most important thing you can do right now is stay ahead of the process. Don't wait to hear from your state. Log in to your benefits portal. Check your balance. Look for notices. Update your information. If your income changed, report it. If someone moved in or out of your household, report it. If you changed jobs or lost one, report it. Every detail matters. Every piece of documentation counts. Because the audits that are coming, they're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're going to look for reasons to cut, And if you're not fully documented, you could end up being flagged, even if you've done everything right. And if you do receive a notice that your benefits are being reduced or that you owe money due to an overpayment, don't panic, but act quickly. You have 90 days in most states to appeal that decision. Don't wait. File the appeal. Ask for a fair hearing. Request the evidence. Make the state prove the overpayment before you agree to repay anything. Most people don't even realize they can fight back. They get the letter, they assume it's final, and they start budgeting around a cut they didn't deserve. Don't fall into that trap. Use the time you have. Ask for help. Talk to a legal aid organization if you need to. This is your right, and you have every reason to defend yourself against mistakes you didn't cause. There's also a larger political dynamic at play here that we can't ignore. This policy didn't appear out of thin air. The push for stricter SNAP enforcement, tighter benefit distribution, and harsher penalties for error began years ago. And it gained massive momentum during the Trump administration, which prioritized cracking down on what they called abuse of the system. What we're seeing now is the long shadow of that agenda. It's still influencing how federal and state agencies approach SNAP, how they allocate funding, and how they enforce compliance. The end result: stricter rules, fewer benefits, and a population of low-income Americans caught in the middle of a political war over budget cuts and bureaucratic performance. And with the current federal shutdown throwing everything into disarray, don't expect this to get better anytime soon. Processing delays, office closures, longer wait times, fewer resources. All of this is compounding the problem. People are calling in to check their benefits and getting voicemail. They're submitting documents that don't get processed for weeks. In that time, errors pile up, and recipients suffer the consequences. Let's call this what it is: a crisis of governance. We are punishing the poor for the failures of the system that's supposed to support them. We are prioritizing federal scorecards over human lives. And unless recipients take control of their own information, unless they stay vigilant, too many people are going to fall through the cracks. So if you're receiving SNAP or you know someone who is, do not wait. Get in touch with your local benefits office. Update your information. Save every piece of mail. Take screenshots of your online portal. Keep a folder with every document. The more organized you are, the safer you are. And please, tell your community. These changes are not being publicized the way they should be. Most people don't even know they're at risk. Help your neighbor check their info. Help your parents or grandparents get online and review their benefits. This is the time to stick together and support each other. If your state is on the high error list, Alaska, Georgia, Florida, New Mexico, Oregon, New York, there's an even higher chance you'll be affected. The states that are not on the chopping block right now: Idaho, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Vermont, few others. That's it. Everyone else is in the danger zone. And here's the kicker. Even if your state fixes its numbers by 2028, that doesn't mean they won't make cuts before then to avoid penalties. So while October 2027 is the official federal deadline, the real danger is happening now. These audits are starting. The reviews are underway. The cuts have already begun. That's why this video exists. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. To give you a fighting chance in a system that is getting less and less forgiving by the day. But above all else, contact your local benefits department today. Don't assume they have your updated info. Don't assume the system is working correctly. Take control. Protect yourself. Because whether it's a clerical error or a full-blown policy shift, the result is the same. Fewer benefits, more stress, and greater hardship for the people who can least afford it. This is not the time to stay quiet or passive. Because here's the raw truth. If you're relying on SNAP to help feed your family, you are now on a timeline. You may not have received a notice yet. You may not have seen your balance change yet. But the gears are already turning, and the decisions are being made behind closed doors. The cuts are coming, not because you did anything wrong, but because your state's paperwork is a mess. This isn't a glitch. It's policy. And it's rolling out whether families are ready or not. The scariest part. Most people won't realize what's happening until they swipe their card at the grocery store and it's suddenly short. Or until a letter shows up saying they were overpaid for the last 6 months and now owe hundreds of dollars. No warning. No conversation. Just a cold, calculated move to clean up state error rates at the expense of human survival. And if you think this won't affect you because you've followed every rule, think again. The people being affected right now are folks who've submitted their paperwork on time, who've updated their income when it changed, who've done everything right. But the state didn't process it fast enough, or didn't log the update, or used outdated calculations. Now those people are facing benefit cuts, and in some cases repayment demands. Think about the pressure this creates. You're already living on the edge. Grocery prices are still high. Rent is going up. Utilities are unpredictable. And now, the one thing that helped you stretch your budget, SNAP, is under attack from a system that's more concerned with hitting a 6% target than with feeding families. This is why it's not just about verifying your info, it's about making noise. If you get a wrong decision, don't let it go. If your benefits get cut, file that appeal. Push back. Force the system to explain itself. Because that's the only way this gets fixed. If people start fighting every unjust cut, every wrongful overpayment claim, every administrative failure. And we need each other more than ever right now. If you're watching this and you're not directly affected, help someone who is. Help them navigate the portal. Help them gather documents. Help them file that appeal. Because this situation isn't just a technical problem, it's a human one. And human problems require solidarity. So again, stay alert. Stay engaged. This isn't a drill. This is the beginning of a shift that could reshape the way food assistance works in this country. And if we're not prepared, if we don't demand better, we'll all pay the price. Like this video so more people see it. Share it with your neighbors, your church, your community center. Comment below if your benefits have already been impacted. And make sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. But most of all, contact your local benefits office. Today, get your information updated. Ask questions. Demand clarity. Because no one else is going to do it for you. The system is changing. Don't let it change without you.